thanks for having me back.
Oh, of course.
Last time that we talked, we discussed some of the things that you would like to work on.
Mm-hmm.
You said think time or wait time when you're giving direct instruction. Less of you talking, more of the kids.
Yep.
Tracking of your student data.
For small groups, yeah.
For small groups.
Mm-hmm.
Differentiating your centers for your high and low kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also talked about, so we prioritized, and you said that you wanted to do, the number one you wanted to work on was less of you talking, more of the kids talking.
Yes.
So, the first thing I want to do for you, with you, is to set a goal for that.
Okay.
So, how would you want that to look? Like, we want to use some sort of a percentage. So, would you want to say something like, during a math lesson, 50% of the time I'll be talking, 50% of the time the kids will be talking. We have to have some sort of way to measure it.
Okay.
So what do you think would be a reasonable amount of time to start with?
I think 50-50 is good.
50 and 50?
Measuring it is what I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, so that's the next part.
Okay.
So we're going to say 50% of the time.
Does this count
Miss
centers?
10 will talk. Well, centers, when the kids are at centers, they're going to be doing 100% of the talking.
Okay, so it's whole group 50-50, right?
Yeah.
When I'm teaching whole group
The
50-50.
beginning of your math time.
Yes, okay. Okay.
So 50% of the time, Miss 10 will talk, and 50% of the time, students will talk. And that could mean that they're talking to you or answering a question, or it could mean that they're talking to each other, too.
Okay.
Because that's all student dialogue.
Okay.
Okay? So the next thing that we're going to do is come up with a checklist.
Okay.
So tomorrow I'm going to come back and model a number talk for you.
Okay.
And I want to introduce 4 different talk moves. So I made a poster of it, and I'll probably leave this here with you today so that I don't have to bring it tomorrow.
Okay.
But the first one, when you're doing a number talk to encourage student dialogue, would be repeating. So when I was here last week, you had your orange sheets up on the board, and you had strategies that kids had given you about, I think it was
Addition
strategies. And so when a student shares their strategy, we want to always have another kid repeat what they heard.
Okay.
And so that we know that they're engaged in that moment.
Okay.
And that's creating student dialogue.
Yeah.
Because they may say it in a different way that makes more sense to a third party kid or somebody else in the room. When you're asking for kids to talk, you want them to do an add-on. So let's say Sammy or whatever student 1 shares a strategy, another kid repeats it, and then a third student could add something onto that strategy as an additional piece that they saw.
Okay.
So these are just the categories that we're going to see.
Okay.
And then also what's a really good thing to do with them is to have a signal, a silent signal, that tells the student that's sharing the strategy originally that they think the same way you're thinking.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's an instant response from the other kids. It's positive reinforcement instantly. It doesn't come from you, it comes from their peers.
That's cool.
And it's just a simple, I think like you do.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be directed at the kid.
Yeah.
But if they're talking and they see a bunch of students doing this, it kind of gives them that boost, immediate boost.
Okay.
And then the other thing, we want to give kids permission to revise how they think about math. So if they were the ones to share a strategy, another kid repeats it, and then somebody adds on, and it changes what they originally shared.
Yeah.
We want to ask them, maybe go back to them and ask if what so-and-so repeated or what this person added on, did that help you to revise the strategy that you thought would be the most efficient or best strategy? Okay, so these are just 4 things. You don't want to do too many at once. And you may think of some later on that you want to add that are more unique to your kids or to your style of teaching. But these are just basic ones that we're going to try.
I like it.
So we want to create a checklist. So tomorrow when I model the number talk, I'm going to introduce these 4 things to them and hopefully get them to use some of them.
Yes.
Okay, so we want to create a checklist that'll show us that I want you to check me off to see if I've done these things. We don't want to make the checklist too big.
Okay.
But what do you think would be a good good thing to put on our checklist.
To see that you're doing or they're doing?
Well, that you see during this lesson.
Okay. I think especially this one, seeing if they use the silent signal but appropriately. Because as soon as you show them, I see them going, oh, all the time. They're going to want to do it. But actually doing it when they get it and not doing it just because it's the cool new thing to do.
So using the silent signal at appropriate times.
I want to see how many of them actually do it. Remember to do it.
So when I'm modeling it tomorrow, you can even take a tally of how many kids were doing it.
Okay.
If you see it.
Yeah.
Okay. What else might we want to make sure we have?
How many are actually willing to add on?
Okay.
Yeah. So once you introduce it, how many are willing to add on?
The number of kids willing to add on.
Because that one to me is a little bit, they don't know how to think out past what one kid says. And then if I don't know if this is weird, like revising, if you go back to that kid and he's actually thinking or they're thinking, I would want to change it. How many of them actually revise?
Okay. So we could just do one for each of the things. So
then I think in the last one, actually the time spent.
Time spent.
What a good 50-50 looks like if we're going to do it that way.
It's time spent where kids are actually talking.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'll type those in and I'll have a little half sheet for you tomorrow to check. And then after I'll come back and I'll do the checklist with you too.
That's awesome.
So we'll do it both ways.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought about the number talk that I'll use tomorrow.
Okay.
And I thought about just a multiplication problem with 3 factors.
Ooh.
Have you done anything like this with your kids?
We have not done any multiplication yet. They know their basic facts, but we haven't done...
So, that's another question. Do you think it would be more beneficial for me to do an addition or a subtraction problem? Because really what we're trying to do is get these... This is our main goal.
Not this.
Not necessarily the math or the multiplication.
Yeah. I would do addition or subtraction.
Okay.
Just for tomorrow.
So what do you think would be a good problem then for addition that you've been working with?
Addition, probably a thousands place, so...
So a 1,000.
4-digit, yeah.
A 4-digit plus a 4-digit?
Yep. For addition is fine.
Okay.
And then I would even, if you could, maybe do subtraction because they were so struggling with it in the beginning that now they're more comfortable with it. I'd be curious how much they want to talk about it. If you have time, but...
We'll see. Yeah. I'll come with a subtraction and an addition.
Okay.
And then we'll just see how it plays out.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Because I really, the lesson, this is your classroom.
Yeah.
And I only want to be teaching for like a short amount of time.
Okay.
Just a snippet.
Yeah.
Because I'm not here to take over. You're the star of this show with the kids.
Yeah.
And you're their teacher. I just want to come in quick, show a strategy, and then
awesome.
See if we can implement it
because
together.
If you did addition, then when you're done, I could do subtraction with them and see if they...
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
I love it.
So thinking about addition and subtraction, it's important to plan for any misconceptions that you think that they might have. Are you seeing any errors or any things that they're
flipping
doing?
them. So when you put up addition, they'll think that they need to do subtraction because they don't check the sign, and that's the only thing that's really different is that the process is...
Okay.
They start to do it wrong because it's like, wait a second, was it addition or was it subtraction? Oh, addition.
Okay, so paying close attention to the sign.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
No. Lining it up. When they start getting into bigger place values, they line up the hundreds value under the 1,000 and they get mixed up.
Okay, so when you talk about lining it up, are they using the standard algorithm to subtract or add?
They're doing the break apart place values, so they'll actually break apart, but when they go, you won't have trouble with it tomorrow, but if they have to add a 4-digit plus a 3-digit, they'll move the 3-digit under the thousands place where that's the hundreds, and that's the only one that some of them have, but otherwise they do pretty well with keeping it lined up.
Okay.
Just for adding the place values correctly.
After they've broken apart.
After they've broken apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so place value. All right, is there anything else you think I should be aware of?
No, I love it. I think it's great. Like they're gonna love having you in here.
It's always fun to have a guest teacher come in and do something like that.
Especially if I'm sitting here because they're like, what are you doing? What's going on? So I'm excited.
It's good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, do you want me to come back tomorrow, or do you want to tell me when to come back? Because you said you haven't started. This may or may not play a factor in your actual lesson for the day, because it's just a short.
I'm
thinking that it'll take about 15 minutes.
Okay. I think you should still come tomorrow, and then
Okay.
I'll transition with him, kind of practicing it, and then we'll start the topic 1 on Thursday. That'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Yes, that'll be
Okay.
fine. Time-wise, I'm fine. So, do you want me to hang this in here before you come, or do you want to hang it up for them?
It's up to you.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about it, so if it's up, that's helpful. If you don't want to put it up till tomorrow, that's fine too.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much. I'll see you tomorrow.